It's Monday on Daily Delivery. Michael Rand here, Patrick Reusse with me as usual. We will bring a better effort, I think, Patrick, than most Minnesota teams did this weekend. There's, more than just four teams played this weekend, but of the four really prominent ones that played, Gopher football on Saturday, and then Vikings, Wild, and Wolves on Sunday. Everybody was playing an opponent that was pretty much inferior, right? I would think the Minnesota
Yes.
team was certainly favored in all four of those games, and they only came out with one win and an ugly one, an all-time ugly one at that. Not a great weekend for Minnesota
Was it
sports.
was it only last weekend, or I guess the weekend before? 2 weeks ago, we were the world's capital of
Yes,
sports. We were
yes.
we were bragging about this is the future here, and now this weekend was awful. Starting with the Gophers managing to lose to their old pal. Manis, and then went right through, and one of the most embarrassing victories in all
Yes.
time with the Vikings. So it was, and then the Timberwolves just absolutely stinking out. Miami's missing three starters, and they managed to end up getting beat at home because they came out and sleepwalked it early on
Yep.
and screwed around and did all the goofy stuff that good NBA teams do, except in this case, you got Spolster coaching the other team, and they're going to hang in there and try. But anyway, I suppose we should start with the one success of the weekend, the
Relatively,
Vikings.
relatively, yes.
Oh man, was that a terrible football game? So I got to tell you, I didn't watch the whole thing, right?
Okay.
So I had to. So because the YouTube TV, you have the thing that you could, if the game was on television
Yep.
on that, you could hit the key plays, right?
Yep.
And then they go back through the key plays. They could only come up with 23 of them. Most of the time, an NFL game, you have about 35. They
That's
only
funny.
had they only had 23 key plays. They could, and it's funny they kind of like shut it down. They just said we can't stand to watch it. Whatever the computer is that's generating the key plays or who's ever hitting the thing. They like stopped showing them. It was awful, awful football game, and Jacksonville is that last pass back Jones threw.
Oh,
What
geez.
is going on?
I don't know.
How did Bill Belichick, a bad guy but a very well respected coach, end up deciding Mac Jones could be his quarterback? I cannot
I don't
figure
know.
that out. But they stopped paying Tom Brady. They let him go, so they installed Mac Jones. But yeah, the offense, Sam Darnold, the first interception, he threw it a little high, I guess, and Jefferson couldn't get his hands on it or didn't get his hands on it. That was kind of a tip ball. But
Yeah.
the two down by the goal line, ooh, those were
Oof, yeah.
brutal. So anyway,
Yeah. Well, and that's
if you go in and score then, or even kick field goals, you're not having to sweat it out down to the end. So
no. Well, and Darnold throws three picks. That's six turnovers in the last two games, and O'Connell gets asked about it after the game, kind of like, was your confidence wavering in him? Did you think about maybe pulling him? It's like, for who? Nick Mullins? Like, this is it. This is it, guys. This is who
crazy,
you're bringing to the dance. There's no
crazy.
cavalry coming here.
Remember the entire preseason, the entire non-conference, and all training camp was ball security. They were all
Yes.
that was the big campaign, just cut down on the turnovers. And I believe what was it yesterday? Was it three total yesterday? No, they fumbled too, right?
No, it was
Darnold.
three. It was three yesterday. He
I
had
thought
two.
they I,
He had
I
a
thought
pick
they
and two.
lost
He
a
had
fumble.
No, not yesterday. He had two picks and a fumble 2 weeks ago, but yesterday was just the
Okay.
three picks.
Okay, so I think they got 20 now. They were tied for the lead going into the
Yeah.
most turnovers, tied for the lead going into yesterday. So now Jacksonville threw up five, right? Didn't they have five turnovers or
Oh,
something
like
yesterday?
three. There was three apiece
Three,
by the end.
three apiece.
Vikings
Okay,
had the first three. Jacksonville had the last three because
okay, yeah.
Jones lost the fumble and then the last two
Throw that
picks.
floater he threw down at the end of the end zone when they
Oh,
were trying
geez.
to win the game was unbelievable. But yeah, that was a brutal football game, and the NFL had a lot of those this weekend. It was ugly. I would have loved to have been in the crowd with the drunk fans in Soldier Field
Oh man.
with the Bears putting up a 3 spot. But
Oh geez.
yeah, it was quite an ugly ball game, that's for sure. The defense was good again, and I guess Jacksonville's offense is so bad that we don't really know how good the defense was.
Did the key plays that you watched on YouTube TV include Bynum's
Yes, yes,
ray gun celebration?
I would release him. As an old coach, he would be looking for a job, but there should be a time limit on the celebrations in the end zone. If it takes more than 7, 8 seconds, it should not occur. That thing was about a minute, wasn't it? I
It
have
was a
no
long time.
idea. I have no idea what he was doing because I got a bulletin for you. I did not watch breakdancing at the Olympics. Okay, I
Right,
did
right.
not only did I not watch it, it's why I don't approve of the world. Sometimes I can say I don't approve of the country, but when I see breakdancing in the Olympic, I don't approve of the universe anymore. I don't want that in my life. That we get rid of baseball and softball, and we cut wrestling down to nothing so we can have breakdancing. Don't get me started. And I lost all respect for Ken Bynum too. I've heard him on Barrero's show once in a while, but I will now turn it off for sure. Anytime he comes on, I'm not going to listen to anything he ever says again. 12, 14, 15-second celebration. We don't need those. So that's my opinion.
Remember, like, I don't know how long ago it was, but like
Couldn't
the
do that.
old NFL, the no fun league, like you couldn't even like, you know, you could barely spike a football without getting a 15-yard penalty. They've gone the complete opposite direction. And
Yes, yes,
the
they
younger
have.
generation likes it, Patrick. The younger generation seems
I
to
don't
enjoy
care
it.
about the younger generation. You're idiots. The hell with you. And this is stupid. Also, my other thing is pointing, receivers pointing when they catch a pass. That should be a
Yeah,
15-yard penalty too. So anyway,
taunting.
that's my no, just making the
Just
whole league look stupid. That's
okay.
15-yard penalty, stupidity. Okay,
Okay.
that's we don't have to have a cute category for it. We don't have to have some official name. Anyway, it was a bad football game,
Yes.
and there were a few of them. But how about those Detroit Lions?
Oh,
Man
geez.
alive, that guy's insane. By the way, did you hear his? Was it going into the fourth quarter when he did the sideline interview, or was it going
No,
into the third? Was it the second
I'm
half?
I missed the rally because I was kind of, we were doing bedtimes and I was watching some Wolves, but yeah, I missed the second half. I had a weird feeling though that I was going to open up my phone this morning and find out that they had won, and sure enough, even though they had even though Goff threw 5 interceptions, they
Yes,
won that game.
yes. A couple of them weren't his fault, but most of them were. I mean, five. The guy was completing passes at 85% or something, and then he throws five.
Yeah.
But they did. You find this Campbell, this whoever got stuck talking to him on the sidelines, getting the coach interview. I think it was
Yeah.
the start of the fourth quarter. He's screaming like a lunatic when she's trying to interview him on the sidelines. He's in the fire's spitting, the fire's coming out of his eyes, and they somehow come back and win that game. And did you? Yeah, it was just crazy, and they win it on a 56 yarder, 56.
Yeah, a
This
long
guy,
one.
I think this guy they got the kicker comes out of the whatever we call the USFL anymore.
Yeah.
That he comes out of that league, right?
Yeah.
The
The
Bates
XFL or the
XFL, yeah, whatever it is. I don't know the
the
summer
alternate league,
league,
yeah.
the summer
Well,
league.
I think the Vikings kicker kicked in that other league for a while too. This John Parker Romo that
No,
kicked the
no,
four
we
field
had him
goals.
in camp, right?
Yes,
Did we have
yes,
him
they
in
knew about
camp,
him.
but they knew they were going to keep the other guy. He didn't
Yes.
exactly look as steady as Riker did before he
No.
got hurt there. But yeah, he ended up the only points they got. How do you play that team and not score a touchdown? Unbelievable. I guess you
Yeah.
do it because you're down in there close, and Darnold throws 2 end zone interceptions. I guess
Yes.
so.
Yes.
That's what you do. But
Oh.
now we've seen it. Now we know that you just got to wait for JJ McCarthy to be in camp next next spring. I mean, when the mini camp and all that stuff starts, I don't think they'll even offer him anything. Will they, Darnold, to be the backup? They'll just let him go. He
Yeah, I mean,
won't. They'll let him go.
I guess it kind of depends. Like if he has a good enough year, he's going to want to be somewhere where he can play, and it's not going to be here. So
Well,
it's kind of like
the
this,
way
like,
he's going right now, it's
yeah,
it's back, and we've seen why he got run out of various other places. So yeah, he's a. That's the thing about him. It's not being able. It's not a lack of a throwing arm. It's not a lack of
right,
athletic ability. It's he's been a turnover machine,
yes,
and we've seen that now. So.
yes. Um,
You're not going to the NFC title game with him as your
no,
quarterback. I don't think.
no, I think we know the ceiling for this year's team, and it was tenuous too when you saw Aaron Jones go out. You're like, uh-oh,
Yes,
but he came back in and finished that game
he's
off. I think
not going to make it to the finish line. No, he gets.
he's a little
This is the
fragile.
second
Yeah,
time he's been hurt, so I think he's a warrior. But
he is.
I think he's going to. I don't think he's going to make it to the finish line, and he is important to them. That's for sure.
Yes, yes, he is. Well, that would have been a bad loss. The Wolves and Gophers were bad losses. So was the Wild, I guess, the Blackhawks too. Let's start with the Wolves as we kind of take the tour of the losses. 95-94 to the Heat. For as bad as they played, they're up two in the closing seconds, but they gave up a layup and a foul, 3-point play. Don't make the bucket at the end, and that's all she wrote. Heat missing a bunch of guys, including Jimmy Butler, who can't seem to be healthy whenever they
No,
play at
he's
Target Center.
never played man alive. He doesn't want to get booed, so he doesn't come back here and play. What he hasn't played any time since they've been here, right? He hasn't played, right?
I
Since
think
he
he played. I think he played like in
he
2021, but I
won
can't.
first time.
It's
Okay,
been a
since he's
while.
been in Miami, I don't think he's played. Anyway, I don't know, but it's you know, yeah. I mean, you got a B squad lineup, and you come out and you play like idiots in the first quarter, just like they did the other day. But they ended up because the team they were playing was so rotten that they came back and beat them. But yesterday, Miami, hung in there, played defense, guarded you, and throwing it up from all over the place. What 8 for 24 he was or
Yeah,
something, and he's playing like a moron. Jaden McDaniels is terrible. He's awful. You're paying him whatever you're paying
27
him.
million. Yeah,
The only guy who showed up was Nah, and then he
yeah.
ended up committing the foul at the end, right? That
Yes, he
cost
did.
him the game. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad they lost. The way I watched them, they came out the way they played at the beginning. I said, I hope these morons lose because they just played sloppy down to the other team. Michael Connolly looks 60 years old.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a problem.
you heard it here first. Play in.
Wow, that bad, huh?
Play
Well,
in.
the
You
West is
heard it
really
here
good. The
first. The
West is
West
really
is
good.
really good.
Yeah.
You got other teams that are smarter, other teams that play harder, other teams that use their bench. When you got 8 guys out there throwing bricks and you still won't put Minot in, and maybe he can make a couple of shots. The one thing he is a shot maker, and Fitchy's having a terrible year too. Play in. You heard it here first.
Okay. Well, we'll see. I mean, a lot of teams are better now, right?
Yes.
Like Golden State is good again. The Lakers are a little up and down. They won their first four, then they lost their next four.
The Lakers
Oklahoma's
might be who they're playing in the play-in game. So
oh,
we we don't belong in the same
well,
building as Oklahoma
but
City.
you see Chet is out for at least 8 to 10 weeks though.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that
So,
will be a loss
but
for him for some.
they'll be okay without him for
Poor old
that.
Chet, man, a great player, but he needs a hamburger. They said that he put some weight on, but it's hard to see when he's out there. But yeah, that'll hurt them. There's no doubt about it. But I really like that team, and they're really good. But I've been disgusted with this collection since opening night when they
Yeah,
no showed.
they haven't
They
played great this year yet.
no, they haven't played smart. They haven't played you know the schedule has been relatively easy too. I think it's going to get tougher, and yeah, I don't know. People are, I to me that's not a oh, we lost it at the last minute. That's a game you lost with your effort from the get
Yeah,
go, and to me that's you let them hang around. Now I know that's the tradition for good NBA teams that you just kind of let a
right.
team hang around to the last 2 minutes of the third quarter. You put the regulars back in, and then you roll away from them. But
Right.
last night, that you only get 94 points for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
So that's it's
Well,
they have been a disappointment to me.
when Ant's been making threes at like a historic
Yes,
clip, when he's not making threes, the offense has problems, and he's not going to be making threes like he has
no,
been for most of the year. He's just not a 45% three-point shooter. If he's more like 40 instead of 35, which he had been, that's a big deal, but he's not going to be 8 for 14 most of these games. He's going to give you more of these 3 for 12s some along the way.
reading Hines' game story. Apparently, he was in there. Well, he wouldn't come out and talk to the reporters, but he was in the club in the locker room screaming about stuff. So
Yeah.
it's I don't know if he was mad at himself or mad at his team or mad at the basket being the rims being too
hmm
small or something. He couldn't make a shot, but I don't know. They're you know NBA teams can be very enigmatic, and right now these guys are that. I think so.
Well, and they're
Maybe
not.
they'll get there. The thing about it is, though, the season is endless and
Oh yeah.
kind of depends upon the last 25 games. If you start playing good, then who knows?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
right now, I can't stand to watch them.
No, and they are what they're 6-4. They were one stop
Yeah,
away last night from being 7-3, but the way they're getting there is not satisfying. It's not been
no,
a fun watch, that is for sure. We'll see if they can.
I don't know what are that we talked to about among ourselves about what are they going to do with McDaniels? It's
I don't know.
terrible. You're
Well,
paying
Lavelle and
him
I
that.
talked about that last week. Do they need to bench him? Do they need to
I don't
put,
know. If you bench him, though, he
DiVincenzo or
probably.
Na in the lineup?
Yeah, but if you bench him, well, you could put nine. But if you bench him, you're going to get him pouting
I
even
know.
more than he
I
pouts
know.
now.
I
So,
know.
but anytime they run something for him and they try to get him started, he ends up, getting a nice shot there and doesn't go in. He
Right.
doesn't, you know, it's a hard game to play when you can't shoot.
Right. No,
And,
that's
and
true.
but
That
that
is
was
true.
why was Rudy not on the court for the end too to play defense? That
It's
wasn't
a,
that.
yeah, I can. Twitter was not happy with Finch last night. Let's just put it that way. There was a lot of. And I don't think Finch was happy with Finch. I think he even said like, "I
No,
didn't
he
get my
did rip it. He
substitutions right."
came right out right away and ripped himself for
Yeah.
making bad decisions. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, it is a long season. The football season, Gopher football season, is not as long. They've only got 2 games left. They were cruising through this kind of middle part of their schedule. They'd won 4 in a row. I think
beating a
Rutgers had
couple of
lost
good
4 in a row.
teams, beating a couple of good
Yes,
teams,
beat
but
Illinois in there. Beat yeah,
yeah, and they played down to them. And the funny thing is, they got to the fourth quarter. Okay, they hold it, and they're all they got to do is move down the field, and they Rosmer's been doing that, and they've been they've owned the.
yeah.
They've owned the fourth quarter there and won games in the fourth quarter. And this time they had the ball 3 times in the fourth quarter and did nothing. So
He was
it
under
was,
yeah, he was under duress a lot of that game. They just didn't block very well. But that was also his worst game in a while. He'd been playing really well.
yeah, yeah, it was a bad loss. And now they get a week off to wait for Penn State. And, that'll place should be, that might end up being no, they wouldn't play the game at night here in Minnesota, would they, in late November?
This late,
But,
probably not.
probably be the 2:30 game, and they'll have a nice crowd for that, and they'll be fired up. But I don't know if they got to be looking at themselves and said, "Boy, this was in the pantheon of disappointing losses for Fleck. This one was up there because this was gonna be a surprisingly good season
Yes.
until they gave that one away to Rutgers. I wouldn't say you could see it coming, but Shiano's a good coach, and
Yes.
you got the old quarterback playing, and he
Right.
was he was okay early,
Yeah.
but from what I could see, I kind of went back through it. I was at a high school game,
Okay.
but then uh, you know they didn't. They it was kind of predictable that Rutgers was going to play hard, and
Hmm.
they didn't match that. And the offensive lines, what's their opinion that
It's
they're not. It's not
they're
great, right?
inconsistent. They're inconsistent. Like some games they really protected Brosmer, and other games they just struggle, and they really struggled in this one. I don't know what the deal
Yeah,
is, but they he was
yeah.
getting pressured. He gave up they gave up the safety at one point to kind of push that lead up. It was just not good. They were not the better team on the
No,
field that day, and that was out of character because they had been playing well and kind of getting back. You win that one. What, that's seven, and then still got a chance to
then you're all fired up for Penn State,
right, and then
and
Wisconsin again.
Wisconsin's terrible. Wisconsin's quarterback couldn't play for you know
Bethel,
Murdoch in Minnesota. He's terrible. That lock guy. So anyway, he's yeah. It was a that bad loss for old PJ. That's for sure.
Watch your dreams and savings grow with Royal Credit Union's 4.25% annual percentage yield 12-month certificate. Open now at any Royal office or online at rcu.org/certificate saver. Early withdrawal penalties could reduce earnings and principal. APY accurate as of 2/1/25. Insured by NCUA.
and then of course the Wild. I did not watch the Wild, but they've been surprisingly good this year. They lose
Yeah.
to the Blackhawks 2-1 in the extra time. I just
They scored late too. They were scoreless until
yes,
5 minutes to go, and they
yes,
got a goal. It's 1-1. Blackhawks terrible. I don't know. Is Bedard playing or not? The guy, the phenom. He was hurt
right,
most of last year, but they stink. So and then again, it's hockey.
right.
It depends upon how many times you hit the goalie with the puck. That's the theory. 80% of all great saves are that you hit the goalie with the puck. That's my theory. So anyway, it doesn't sound like they were firing a lot of shots,
No,
but they are a surprisingly good team, though.
yeah,
They are pretty. I think they're legitimate. I really do. I think that they're. When you look at them, they got two lines that are really good, and they don't really have hacks on the other lines. They're kind of, hanging there,
sure,
not giving up any goals. And then they got Faber, and they got Spurgeon, and they got Brodeen back in the back, and this
yep,
Jake Middleton has turned into an assist monster
right.
all of a sudden. So I think they're good. I think they're good, and they're the well, they're the surprisingly good team in town right now.
Well, them and the Vikings, like just imagine, like the
Yeah,
beginning of
yeah.
the
Well,
year,
that's true. The Vikings, yeah.
we didn't think either one of those teams were much of anything. We were kind of locked in on Timberwolves off the
Vikings, Vikings are
Timberwolves and
the
Twins this year.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
coming off the playoffs, and sports are funny, Patrick. You just don't know. Like,
Oh, that's the
I think
good
it's
part of them. I always say that we always know what's going to happen unless it doesn't.
yeah,
And that's the great thing about sports is not knowing who's going to be good. I never thought the Vikings were as bad as people were. I still kicking myself for not going finding some place to bet the 6.5 wins
right.
at the start because that was a cinch when you looked at the schedule. But yeah, I mean somehow they're going to be they're going to end up because they still got Tennessee next. They got the
Tennessee next.
Bears who just put up a 3 spot
Yes,
at
Bears
home in
twice still,
Soldier
right?
Field. What?
Bears twice still, right?
Yeah,
They haven't
but they
played the
got them
Bears yet.
on this streak
Oh,
right
right in the
now
stretch, yeah.
with these the stretch of home games when they get home is they're going to be 10-2 for goodness sakes.
Yeah, they could be. They got
I
what?
think they're going to be 10 to
Arizona, Atlanta, and
Arizona's playing.
Chicago. Yeah, they're
Arizona's
pretty
starting
good.
to play good now. Yeah, Kyler
Kyler
Murray,
Murray. Yeah.
Kyler Murray must not be bringing his video game into the quarterback meetings anymore. He must be concentrating on what he's supposed to be doing. So
Well, and I think this was the weekend that the new version of that game that he likes to play came out. So maybe he's getting more
that
mature.
what is it? The World War one
Call of
or
Duty, I think, is his game. I
oh,
can't
Call
remember.
of Duty's his game. Okay.
I think so. But yeah, that'll be a challenge. So the Falcons lost to the Saints somehow.
Oh,
They had
yes.
like almost 500 yards of offense, but their kicker missed 3 field goals.
And then our guy Kirk threw under the sticks at the end
Yes,
of the
he
game.
did.
It was the other sideline, but it was the same pass to Hawkinson that he threw
Yes.
here. And people were pointing this out, and the Kirk crowd was, they missed 3 field goals, but it's Kirk's fault. Yes, it's Kirk's fault.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're still probably going to win that South Division because
It's bad.
that division stinks. So unbelievable. But anyway, I think the one team not getting any pub in town is Gopher men's hockey.
Yes.
We're underplaying them, but I think this is the year. Dang it! This is Motzko's year to win it. They thought it was 2 years ago, and then they choked away that lead against Quinnipiac in the title game. But this is a really good team too, and this they're on a winning streak now, right? They're won 8, 9 in a row, something like that. It's hard to be that they're not getting any pub though.
College hockey season starts too early. It's like starts in
first week of October, and then they take a 3-week break.
Yes, it's a fall, winter, and spring sport. Yeah.
It's unbelievable when they. Yeah, I mean, it is the longest sport in high school and college sports. It goes from early October to and then they're afraid to go against the men's Final Four. So now they play the Frozen Four in the middle of April.
I know.
It's unbelievable how long the season lasts, and it's like they screw around until take that break, and then they take the 3-week break, and then when they come back, it gets serious. That's when that's when you got to have your team together. And I don't know, they probably are going to have. They're in a situation where they could have players leaving for the portal in the middle of the season, probably, and playing somewhere else by the end of the season. It's. I was over at the Gopher basketball game, the opener, Oral Roberts, and boy, if you ever needed a program, it's this for this guy. Who are these guys? I mean, it is unbelievable. This poor guy, Ben Johnson. It looks like he's building something last year. And Tom Izzo, who's always saying crap like this, comes in and says these guys will be the favorites to win the league next year.
Yeah, and
now you're getting 7th-year players from Okadali or whatever his name is.
Payne leaves, Hawkins leaves.
Yeah. Parker Fox is in his 8th season of college.
He is. It's amazing.
Now, he gets the COVID year, right?
Yeah.
And he had a red shirt year.
Medical red shirt.
But and then he had a red shirt year at Northern State, okay?
Yes.
And then he had the COVID year. So he comes here after 3 years.
Yeah.
But I mean, you get 1 injury year. You get 2. You missed 2 seasons. But I don't know how you're possibly eligible for an 8th season. He looked pretty good, by the way. He was running the court and doing okay. But
I don't know how that rule works. There's Parker's a good guy. Let's give him an 8th year.
When is this? The COVID freebie gone? Is that
it's got to be pretty soon. I think we're kind of coming to the end of that. We got to be done with the 7-year guys. And by the way, they barely beat Omaha the other day too.
Yeah,
I know. 68-64.
Apparently. But here's the next one though. The quarterback from Vanderbilt, who Jerry Kill had at New Mexico State, the little guy. What's his name? The little guy who's good. He started at JUCO. He started at New Mexico Military for 2 years. And this is his 5th college season, and he's suing the NCAA to not count that the junior college years should not count in your NCAA eligibility. What? So he probably win his lawsuit the way they're winning these lawsuits. So if you go to JUCO, you're going to get 7 years if the NCAA loses this lawsuit. He's suing for the JUCO years not to count.
Yeah. Diego Pavia, is that his name?
Yeah, he's suing because junior year, he knows he's not an NFL player. He's a short, fat little guy. He's pretty good, but so he's trying to get 2 more years at Vanderbilt.
2 more years of NIL money.
Yes, unbelievable.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's what the numbers you're hearing for some of these guys that left the university. I can't believe it. I can't believe Elijah Hawkins got like $500,000 or something. I can't believe that. To play 1 year at Texas Tech, that's what you keep hearing, but that can't be true.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, but
yeah.
There's a lot of money out there, Patrick.
But it's also gone from. I was reading the rules that the university has, and that they still have like these rules that you're supposed to be doing something for this money, right?
Right.
You have an Instagram account or something,
right?
And say buy baby diapers from such and such,
right?
But now there's no pretense about it. I think you just take the money. It is extremely weird, but you go to the Gopher game, and if you know who all these guys are, you're a better person than I am. I have no idea where half these guys came from. It's like the first year when we had guys coming from Canada. They had guys coming from everywhere for Ben, but I feel sorry for the guy. He's probably going to end up getting fired if they have a lousy season. But Doyle's not getting him any money. Apparently Dawson Garcia got a nice hunk of money, but it's. I guess we're leaving the coaches to their own devices to go out. I mean, the Dinkytown thing, that's all flex deal. That's mostly flex deal. But I guess it's up to Ben Johnson to go out and find the money to pay these guys. I don't know how that works.
Doesn't it start coming out of the athletic department budget like next year though?
Well, no, that's the $21 million the $21 million that you have to distribute to athletes. That doesn't count NIL. That's not NIL money.
That's not NIL. That's right.
But there's going to be a lawsuit here too when you end up giving 80% of that money to male athletes, isn't it?
I would think so.
That's going to be a mess again. So I don't know.
We went from should we give college athletes a few $1,000 to it's the Wild West just as much as you
went from Bill Musselman having 100, and I've said this a lot of times, 100 and some violations, and 63 of them were when the green Oldsmobile that my friend Klein up in St. Cloud gave to Mussy to let the players use. Every time the green Oldsmobile left the parking lot, it was an NCAA violation, most of which we could credit to Flip Saunders because Flip was basically the driver of the green Oldsmobile. But they were used it to drive around campus and drive downtown and stuff like that. Those were NCAA violations. So when you look back, now Mussy did have some real ones too. I'm not saying he didn't, but that they had an investigator after the Ohio State fight. They basically moved in here to try to get rid of him. And they had a guy here for like 2 years, and he was looking at the parking lot, and the green Oldsmobile left. There was an NCAA violation. So now
that's amazing.
Now you give them the green Oldsmobile, and it's still fine. So
it's like, here's your car. No.
Yeah. Anyway, bad weekend in Minnesota sports. Even the victory was a bad weekend. So it was a terrible loss for the Gophers, terrible loss for the Wolves. Hockey is okay. What the heck? You got a point against a bad team, but and then the Vikings not scoring a touchdown against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's pretty bad. So 2 weeks ago, we were the sports capital of the United States of America, the North American continent we were, and now we're saying, what is wrong with our teams? So,
well, you know what? We'll try again next week.
All right, sir.
Thanks, Patrick.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Goodbye.